What is up, guys? This is the all new Curran and Kaden college football show here on PHS Sports. It's gonna be like every week we'll have a podcast talking about all the games and stories in college football and a little our opinions on it. So college football is back in effect. Week 0, some big games. Obviously, the biggest one being the really big upset, Georgia Tech, Florida State. Curran, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Okay. What is up, everybody? So, all the way in Dublin, Ireland, we had week 0, Georgia Tech versus Florida State. Georgia Tech with an upset at the very last second with the field goal, 24-21. And I was watching this game while at work, and I saw the kicker had missed earlier in the game, I think right before halftime. And so no one really knew if he was going to make it or not because it was way more further than the one he missed. But he ended up making it. Georgia Tech won. Good for Georgia Tech. Some stats here. DJ Ukulele. I hope I'm saying that right.
Uliungalele. That's how you pronounce it. Uliungalele.
Yeah, I'm not pronouncing that right. Quarterback for Florida State. He went 19 for 27 with 193 yards. Roydell Williams, the running back of Florida State, with 12 carries, 38 yards, 1 touchdown. And Ja'Kai Douglas, wide receiver, 4 receptions, 55 yards. And on the other side for Georgia Tech, Haynes King, 11 for 16 with 146 yards. Jamal Haynes, who I think was player of the game, 11 carries, a short amount of yards with only 75, but also 2 touchdowns. And then Malik Rutherford was the top receiver with 4 receptions and 66 yards.
Come back on that. Florida State looked really bad. Even since coming off their last bowl game, Georgia getting beat 63-3, the largest bowl win ever. Then you go and your first game is an upset against an unranked Georgia Tech team who hasn't won more than 10 games in 2 years.
Yeah.
That's rough for the FSU program. But Brent Key's doing a really good job at Georgia Tech. Haynes King looked really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And DJ Uliungalele, man, he
struggled.
He's struggling. He goes to a new school every year and kind of, I don't know, the former number 1 recruit in the country in 2020.
No, I don't think he was number 1.
Number 1 quarterback, I'm pretty sure.
No, he was number 2 because number 3 was C.J. Stroud, number 1 was Bryce Young.
He was in that stacked class. That's right, yeah.
So, I'm surprised. He's not in the NFL yet.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Senior. But anyway, so that's it with week 0. No other real big games.
Shout out Ireland.
From that week. Yeah, shout out Ireland. This week, though, we got the primetime game. Obviously, we got 2 very walkthrough games with Alabama and Western Kentucky and Auburn and A&M. Western Kentucky, Alabama. Alabama, in my opinion, looks like they've only refined their offense. It's going to be a lot stronger. But it's going to be weird this year.
Very weird.
New head coach.
They're still going to do good. It's Alabama. They're going to make the playoffs.
For sure.
At minimum, they're going to make the playoffs.
Jalen Milroe.
Dog.
What I've seen, really good spring from him. Showing a lot of promise. Kobe Prentice, local 205 guy from Calera. In the starting rotation, as well as shout out Darius Copeland, week 1 starter for Liberty. Sorry, just had to throw that one in there. Anyway, Curran, what's your thoughts on this Western Kentucky Bama game? What are you looking to see out of Bama? Is my
low key, I want them to play Ryan Williams, 5-star wide receiver, right from Alabama. I want to see Alabama's most likely going to win this game. This is probably one of their easiest games on their schedule. Go ahead and put the freshman, five-star freshman out there and just see what he can do. You're playing a bad team. If you just play him, you get a lot of potential out of him, and you see what he can do.
I think for sure there's going to be a lot of garbage time in this game. So, after the second half or the first half, I think Ryan Williams and all those guys will go in there. I don't know if they're week 1 starters.
They're definitely not starters, but
but
just play them at least.
Oh, for sure. And then what I want to see out of Alabama is I want to see their they lost. Khalid McKittrick went to the draft, correct?
Yeah, Terrion Arnold.
Their secondary needs to step up.
Yeah, and they also lost Dallas Turner. So their whole defense just needs to
big defense
be good.
questions for Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on with Auburn. always a question mark every single year
Always.
with if they're going to go. I mean they went 3-6 in conference play last year.
Ooh.
Rough season for Auburn.
I mean, you just never knows what happened to Auburn. Like, just take the Iron Bowl. Like, no one expected what would happen to happen.
No.
It's just like their year. They always have a magical year, but most of the time it's magical for the other teams that they play.
For sure. And I mean, I can attest. I was outside of the Iron Bowl stadium during the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, I was in Auburn too.
It was delayed, so I got to see it on the TV a few seconds after. But that was a crazy game. In Auburn, I mean, when they're ready to play, they're ready to play. I mean, even my Georgia Bulldogs, a one-score game last year. Brock Bowers put the team on his back in the second half. But anyway, I mean, Alabama A&M, shout out Xavier Lankford, a former Pelham alumni, will be getting the start at quarterback for the Alabama A&M football team. So it'll be cool seeing him out there. I don't know, just looking forward to Auburn showing some weapons. They struggled a lot with controversies and stuff with, Auburn and their team, but I would just love to see them put together a
good team
4 season, something like beat those new conference opponents like Texas and Oklahoma and teams like that.
Yeah.
Moving on to game of the week.
Game of the week.
Georgia versus Clemson.
All right.
This game will be held at a neutral site.
Really? I
yes.
thought it was at Georgia.
No. It's a neutral site game. I don't know where it is.
Here, I'll look that up real quick.
But anyway, Georgia, while you're looking that up, Georgia coming into the year, Carson Beck had a really good spring. We have lost some players to jail. And so Ra Thomas, losing him, sad situation, but we got some transfers as well. So we got Landon Humphreys from Vanderbilt. Apparently he looks like a new Ladd McConkey. In the spring game, we saw Oscar Delp make some big plays. Looks like a really good player. Defense is always going to be strong with a Kirby Smart team. O-line should be really strong this year. And Georgia looks really good. Trevor Etienne.
Oh, yeah. He's good.
From Florida. I can't wait to see what he does. Roderick Robinson yesterday, though, did go down with a toe injury.
Ooh.
That's our 3-down back. But when did you figure out the site they play at?
Yeah, talk about neutral site.
Atlanta, right?
Happened with Oregon a couple years ago in Mercedes-Benz.
That's right.
Why would Clemson agree with this? Like, get it out of Georgia at least. Like,
yeah, speaking on that Oregon game.
Get it out of the South.
45-7.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was a beatdown. But, I mean, Clemson, last time we played Clemson in 2021, it was 10-7 was the score. We won off of a pick 6.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, but also JT Daniels was hurt in that game. That was a weird game. But, no, I don't know. I just want to see Carson Beck play really well. I want to see these new receivers play really well. And I don't know. I think Georgia, we have a lot of depth and not much to worry about, but just a good year. And especially with the new playoff thing. We haven't even covered that. All the new college football rules.
Ooh.
Let's speak on that. Oklahoma and Texas now in the SEC. How do you think that's going to go for them?
I feel like Texas will thrive. Like, they're a good team. They beat Alabama last year. They can hold their own in the SEC. Oklahoma's going to get killed, though.
I agree.
Oklahoma, they're on here. Oklahoma's ranked 16th right now. They're not going to be ranked at the end of the season, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. I think
definitely not.
I've always said this, especially about Oklahoma and Michigan State and teams like that. If they played in the SEC,
they would get killed.
A 5-6 Florida team would beat them. It's different football in the SEC, and I know this might be biased, but I mean you could just see from the the stats and just when you watch an SEC football game how fast paced it is, and you have Alabama on the road in the SEC is one of the hardest environments to play in, and I just think they're going to struggle in that. Texas is a good team though.
Yeah, even bad teams in the SEC, if you're at those teams, take LSU. They're not as good as what they used to be. But going to Death Valley, crazy.
I mean, Georgia versus Auburn last year, I said it. We won by 1 score. 2 years before that, we almost lost to Missouri, who didn't even make a bowl game,
Yeah.
and we won the national championship. Like, it's just different football.
Like even like the Iron Bowl, even just being at Auburn at that time, like I was just tailgating. But even being in Auburn at that time was kind of intimidating.
Oh,
Like
I bet.
yeah, like
Yeah.
especially big rivalry game. It's gonna be like those. But like, do you think that Oklahoma, because we know Texas could do this, but do you think Oklahoma could beat Vanderbilt like record wise in the SEC?
You just talking about record-wise?
Yeah, record like conference record.
I honestly don't know because Oklahoma has never really had a schedule this tough, and especially what I've seen, Oklahoma is not they're not a Baker Mayfield Oklahoma team. They're not a Kyler Murray Oklahoma team. Like, they're not really.
Like, who is their quarterback?
Is it Dylan Gabriel? I don't know if
no, he's out Oregon.
He's at Oregon.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, and
It's
it's
you,
just
you
a
don't know the
weird
quarterback,
concept.
you don't know the team.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma is just. I can see them struggling a lot with.
Mm-hmm.
The pressure in the SEC, and it's just a really strong schedule for them.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's so hard to tell. Vanderbilt, always kind of the laughing stock of the SEC, but they have won some games these past few years.
I mean,
They beat Florida last year.
I mean, they're in the SEC somehow still, so you got to give them props for that.
Shout out baseball, probably. Heisman. Should we? Who's UAB play?
UAB, I have no idea. But EA College Football 25 has released their game of the week, and
Big news.
yeah, they called Miami at Florida the game of the week. Definitely not. It's definitely Clemson at Georgia, but
I don't know. It's just I feel my score prediction for that Clemson Georgia game. I'll let you tell yours. I'm gonna guess what Officer McGill said, 45-13.
really?
I mean, every year, I'm need to knock on wood, but every time Georgia comes and plays a ranked opponent, we play really good. We show up. I mean, it shows. We beat. I mean, it's just when there's a bar set, Georgia passes the bar a lot. But I mean, I want to hear your input, Curran.
I think defenses are gonna be a big part of this game, so I'm gonna say 24-14.
24-14.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah, I think Georgia will Clemson will hold them at the start, and they'll start off with the easy field goal, and then Georgia will run all over them.
Miami, Florida. I have a weird thought on this game. Florida either plays like a non-SEC team, or they'll play like one of the toughest opponents. They're like the boogeyman of SEC. I think Florida wins this game. I haven't seen enough out of Miami
Yeah, it's just all
to
hype
tell.
around Miami.
It is a lot of hype around Miami, especially in the ACC, which is a dead conference at
Yeah,
this point.
like Georgia Tech is.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech
Clemson.
is number one at this point because they're the only team
Yeah,
that's
they're only
played.
team to play, but
But that's
I don't
crazy.
know.
Clemson's dead. NC State is I think the second highest ranked team, or probably
they play today.
they do.
Um,
Oh yeah, they do. I didn't put that down on the list because they were playing some it looked like a Division III school they were playing.
Yes. NC State plays. I mean, it's just these week 1 matchups are just weak, man.
Yeah, very weak. Well, you do have number 7 Notre Dame at number 20.
That
Texas
is a
A&M.
really.
That's gonna be a good
That's
game.
gonna be a really good game. I'm
At
looking
Kyle
forward to
Field
that.
is
At Kyle
crazy.
Field. Do you know what time?
No, but
Oh, I see. It's at 6:30. So that actually might be the primetime game, considering Georgia plays at 11 a.m.
oh what?
Yeah.
That's I mean at least I'll be able to watch that at work. But
Yeah.
Sunday we actually have a Sunday game. Number 23 USC at number 13 LSU. So
Gonna be a really, really good game.
Really
That
good
is
game.
my Caden's pick for the game of the week.
Oh,
USC,
really?
yes, because USC they don't have Caleb Williams,
True, and they're at Death Valley. I think,
and they're at Death Valley
which is I think Death Valley is the hardest place to play at.
for sure.
Get Penn State whiteout out of here. Death Valley.
Death
is the
Valley
hardest
is up
place
there.
to play.
Knoxville. I mean SEC places, but LSU also just lost Heisman winning Jaden Daniels, who had a good preseason game the other day.
Yeah, I feel like both of these teams are probably going to end up ranked in the 20s.
I
by the
do
end of the
too.
season.
I don't see LSU
Yeah.
being great.
Um,
Michigan at Fresno. Michigan ranked
Yeah.
9th. They've fallen off a lot since winning the national championship.
They lost their coach. They lost a ton of top players, but it's Michigan. They're going to be solid, at least top 15.
Yes, I mean the
They'll-
Big Ten should get interesting this year.
I mean, the Big Ten was not that good last year. You had Iowa and Michigan in the championship.
Yeah.
That's not a good game.
But I think this year it's going to be more. I'm not saying they're going to be dominant in the grand scheme of things, but I think the Big Ten matchups will be more competitive.
Oh,
like
wait,
Ohio
didn't they
State
add?
and-
Oh, yeah, because the Pac-12 is gone now.
Yeah, Pac-12's gone. So
Yeah, I forgot who they added. The Big Ten added, but it's probably not going to make a change to that conference.
for sure, Ohio State, Akron.
Yeah.
So many blowout games this year.
Mhm.
Ohio State ranked second. That is questionable,
I know, that is-
especially from the committee after Ohio State has not shown promise at all.
Yeah.
They're not a.
I mean, they were good. They just just couldn't do anything. last year.
I thought so. But basically that's all we kind of have. Colorado plays. Colorado.
You want to do Heisman?
Yes, we'll do that. But
All
let's cover Colorado. Deion Sanders, second year. Every coach starts out slow first year.
Yeah. It's tons of hype, but they only get 4 wins.
They did not. They only got 4 wins, but they played some close games. They also got
a lot of close games.
A lot of close games and a lot of promise.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just it's like weird the way they play, the way they practice, the whole social media around them. It's just so weird, so modern and new. And I don't know how I feel, but Deion, Travis Hunter looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Shador Sanders looks good. They've got talent, but we just got to see how Deion coaches these guys up.
Absolutely.
And if they can play on the big stage. But they have a walkthrough with South Dakota State, especially South Dakota State playing in the
Division 2, yeah.
Or FC is.
So last topic, we'll go
Heisman
on to
talk.
Heisman. So everybody, ESPN, everybody's been saying Dylan Gabriel of Oregon is number 1 in the Heisman race.
Really?
Yeah. But at the end of the year, if it's not an SEC player Carson Beck, really?
Carson Beck's number 2 on the Heisman watch.
See, I want Jalen Milroe to win Heisman, but if not, Kansas quarterback Jalen Daniels is absolutely insane. Have you played college football yet?
I have, but I haven't.
You haven't played Kansas?
I have not played Kansas.
Dude, Kansas is one of the best teams in the game at this point. Good playbook, probably one of the best running backs, probably one of the best quarterbacks arm strength wise and scrambling wise. Kansas could be good this year in my opinion.
Kansas, not a very great historical college football team, but if they got
good players this year.
I think Carson Beck has a really good shot at winning the Heisman. People would call him a game manager. He had the highest completion percentage in the SEC, least interceptions, most completions, and most touchdowns.
He's playing on Georgia, so
He is playing for Georgia, but
he's going to get those stats.
the guy doesn't throw interceptions. Also an elite, just pro-ready quarterback. I think he's going to have a good year. Obviously losing Brock Bowers, his best receiver, arguably best college tight end of all time. I don't know. It could work for him, but we have some really good receiver talent that he could throw for a massive amount of yards. But he's just not flashy.
Yeah.
So, I would say my second pick would probably be, probably Dylan Gabriel. I don't know. Dylan Gabriel's kind of flashy, but.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway.
But yeah, we are running out of time, so I think this could be the end of the episode.
This will be the end. Next episode will be probably more polished up.
Yeah.
But we just had to get this in quick because
Very quick.
college football, best part of the year.
All right. We'll see y'all soon.